Officiating this contest is referee Sparky Ballard. Following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first from Union City, California, weighing in at 165 pounds, out of control, Matt Carlos!
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Donovan Diamond alongside with Matthew Theall as we're about to watch Matt Carlos, a proud graduate of the All-Pro Wrestling Boot Camp, taking on Mr. Wrestling 4. This is a treat for all the APW fans here watching All-Pro Wrestling Gym Wars.
Look at Matt Carlos running around the ring, making himself tired before the match.
He's out of control, Matthew Theall. Why isn't Matt Carlos on your radar?
Matt Carlos is on my radar, believe you me.
And introducing his opponent from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 184 pounds, Mr. Wrestling number 4!
And there you see him, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wrestling 4, a man who is a full-time favorite here at the All-Pro Wrestling Garage. Matthew Theall, it seems to me that look on your face, this is the one who got away. Well, actually, this is the one who never was.
I don't have fond memories over my experiences with Mr. Wrestling number 4, but as you can imagine, I do appreciate the skill and talent that he does bring into the ring. I only offer contracts to the very best that All Pro Wrestling has to offer.
Well,
and
Matthew,
as much as it pains me to say right now, Mr. Wrestling number 4 is still one of the best.
Well, Matthew Theall, to quote the Ramada resident regular, he gave you a punch right in the mush, if I can be corrected here.
Yes, he did. And actually, I visited the doctor shortly after, and he told me I had a hairline fracture in my jaw. And that is just a vicious and uncalled for attack by Mr. Wrestling number 4.
I'm surprised you're still able to flap your gums as much as you do here on All Pro Wrestling TV with a fractured jaw.
I'm resilient. I'm tough. I'm able to push through all of the pain that I experience each and every day caused by that man.
Mr. Wrestling 4, like I said, a full-time fan favorite here, has the foreheads all behind him. There's actually foreheads rocking in the crowd during this man's entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat here today with All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars.
And as Sparky Ballard attempts to check all these weapons, all these wrestlers, 4 weapons, rightfully so. Both men, they could potentially have brass knuckles in their tights. I wouldn't put it past either one of these gentlemen.
Listen here, Matthew Theall. Mr. Wrestling 4 and Matt Carlos are proud graduates of the All-Pro Wrestling Boot Camp and are dedicated fan favorites here. Neither one of these men are using tactics such as a Corvus, a Larry Blackwell, or a Rick Luxury by bringing brass knuckles to the ring. The only thing that these two gentlemen will bring to the ring is pure heart, dedication, and ability for all of these All-Pro Wrestling fans.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to visit our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/allprowrestling, as well as twitter.com/allprowrestling, and visit allprowrestling.com for the matches that are coming up on our big September 11th TV taping.
That's correct. September 11th, live pro wrestling at the All Pro Wrestling Garage for Gym Wars. Ladies and gentlemen, the bell has rang. The two men are shaking hands, and this action is about to get underway with a collar and elbow tie-up.
Incredible opportunity for both of these men. A victory by either one of these would put them in the running, a strong running for the APW Worldwide Internet Championship, whoever he may be, Rick Luxury or Double D Dave Dutra, as you will see in the main event today.
Matthew Theall, that was a beautiful collar and elbow tie-up switch into a snapmare by Mr. Wrestling 4, now being reversed into a hammerlock by Matt Carlos. Granby roll and taking control of that arm, Mr. Wrestling 4.
Matt Carlos and Mr. Wrestling number 4 know each other very well. I believe this is the third time that they faced each other at the All Pro Wrestling ring.
Top hand wrist lock into a drag, held on by Mr. Wrestling 4 and re-rolled into a reversal by Matt Carlos. Go behind, runs him into the ropes, attempting an O'Connor roll. Carlos holding on. Schoolboy attempt. 1, 2. That could have been all.
This is wrestling number 4, showing you exactly if at first you don't succeed, try something new, and he did.
Both these men are very honorable wrestlers here. We're about to see the greatest catch-as-catch-can wrestling here at the APW gym, right here live today on All Pro Wrestling Gym Wars TV.
Both men very technically sound. Matt Carlos being one of the top graduates of the APW boot camp. And Mr. Wrestling number 4, no stranger to the boot camp as well, shows up quite often for training.
Go behind into a waist lock, took it around into a headlock takedown. Matt Carlos back on the mat. Referee looking if the shoulders are down, reversed into a pin of his own.
Mr. Wrestling number 4 has to be very careful. Matt Carlos out of control, very unpredictable. At any point, he could catch a quick pin on him.
Carlos working that leg up top, trying to bring him down into a head scissors. Mr. Wrestling 4 holding on to that headlock. Matt Carlos gains full control of that situation. Figure 4ing the legs. That is a devastating hold. That'll take the wind right out of you. Mr. Wrestling 4 rolling around and counters himself back into the headlock.
Sparky Ballard on top of things. I'm going to have to give him credit in this match, even though normally he doesn't call it down the middle, especially when I'm out there.
Head scissors takedown, and he still has control of the arm. Mr. Wrestling 4 showing you all of the great technique that can be learned here at the All Pro Wrestling Boot Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, go to the website, allprowrestling.com, for a free brochure.
But I'm going to tell you exactly why I like out-of-control Matt Carlos. Every time he finds himself in a hold by Mr. Wrestling number 4, he's always searching, always looking for a way out. He doesn't just sit there and let things happen to him.
Matthew Thiel, that was a new counter for me. Matt Carlos reversing into a headlock of his own, and Mr. Wrestling 4 using a scoop boogie to get out of it.
Mr. Wrestling number 4 also very, very creative in that ring.
Beautiful takedown in the cover. Carlos kicks out at 1, showing the fight still in him. And Mr. Wrestling 4 still controlling that arm, reversed by Matt Carlos into a chin lock.
It seems as though neither one of these can really get the true advantage over the other. Matt Carlos and Mr. Wrestling number 4 reversing each other into snapmares and headlocks and arm bars.
I've seen Mr. Wrestling 4 leave the Ramada Inn early on Saturday mornings to come down and train in the gym. I believe Matt Carlos has either been in the ring with him before or studying every movement of Mr. Wrestling 4 to know exactly what's coming his way. Mr. Wrestling 4, on the other hand, being such a great veteran of the sport, knowing counter for counter of every hold that can come his way. And a roll-up from Matt Carlos. Both these men going for the win.
Matt Carlos is smart to have studied tapes of Mr. Wrestling number 4, especially since Mr. Wrestling number 4 was one of the first people that I offered a contract to. Matt Carlos knows that Mr. Wrestling number 4 is somebody good, somebody important, because he knows that I had my eye on them.
The crowd applauding while both men stand to their feet and back with another collar and elbow lockup. 4 whipping, reversal by Matt Carlos, 4 leapfrogs over, goes for a backslide. Both men jockeying for position here.
Matt Carlos can struggle out of this. He might be able to get away or maybe snatch on his own backslide of his own.
Carlos using the turnbuckle to get up and over with an arm drag of his own. And another arm drag. Beautiful shades of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I think Mr. Wrestling 4 may have taught that one right there to Ricky the Dragon years and years past.
Do you think it's possible, since we've never seen Mr. Wrestling without his mask, that he could be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat?
That is conspiracy that I don't feel like touching on right now, Matthew Thiel, but I know you probably have someone in your offices somewhere looking deep into the internet to find out if their birth certificates match up.
You're absolutely right with that one.
Kip up by Matt Carlos, taking control of the arm. 2-on-1, goes for the Russian. Ladies and gentlemen, great action coming to you from APW Gym Wars TV. I want you, Carlos with the cover kick out. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned as we go to these commercial breaks.